a broad-minded statesman who has decided to anchor his governance and governance style on the fear of God. It comes with a lot of positive implications when you call God to governance. You begin to look at those things that people may not ordinarily look at. Harmony comes to you naturally. Peace comes to you naturally. Prosperity comes to you naturally. These things happen when you call God to governance. Started with inviting stakeholders, critical stakeholders across the 18 local governments to a dinner at his birthday celebration on the 18th of October. I was there. In fact, for the persons that I have not seen for over 20 years, after my tenure as the Civil Service Commission Chairman, which began as far as 1996. After that, a lot of persons that I hadn't seen, I saw them at the governor's celebration. He called almost everyone, from Bokie to Obanliku to Yala to Bakassi to Kalabasa to the 18 local governments. The 25 constituencies were represented at that event. People like Chief, Mrs. Odom, Martina Odom, were there. In that representative manner, let me start from the north, the north of Cross River. People like Chief Patrick Iwara, who was like a godfather, of our politics in those days. He was there. And then you have Chief Mrs. Ise, in the south, persons that some administrations. I don't want to be particular about any former administration, but that these persons, were never called upon at a particular time in our history. Maybe even in the recent past, these persons, the government didn't have any business with these, persons. But today, they are relevant. In fact, do you also know that they can call the governor one-on-one directly and have a conversation with him? That is the humility that comes with the fear of God. So, what is coming now? The recognition of the four governors who had governed, served Cross River State, from Governor Ibri, to Governor Donald Duke, to Governor Lieli Moke, to Governor Bernard Ayade. It's like a natural. It comes naturally, to the governor that persons who have served and faithfully so, be recognized, beginning from those who spent their youthful energies in the public service and retired and were never called, and almost forgotten. Now they are beginning to see that, oh look, they are involved. And see, it comes with a lot of prayers, for the governor or two. So now, the event that we are looking forward to has to do with, something I would regard as a recognition, that comes with service, to the state. If you ask me, that is the greatest calling. And for persons that God has placed at that level of governance. It's not easy to be a state chief executive. And then suddenly you are not recognized, you are not called upon anymore. But this governor recognizes that fact. And let me tell you, for a man who also puts his mind to the fact that tomorrow I will also serve and live as governor. That's the greatest humility. If you ask me one biblical experience that is most humbling, is the washing of the feet of his disciples. That is by Christ. So, for those of us who have followed Governor Okputu closely, I have personal conversations with him. I understand his thinking about the things of God and service. I understand his thinking about this state and where he's looking at. His aspiration is to see Cross River State completely restored and taken to higher heights. Where the Cross River State, we must acknowledge this, at a particular time was put on the global map. When I was in government, at a particular moment, the joint donor team came completely right. We had USAID here, we had UNICEF, we had the World Bank, we had everybody here to celebrate where Cross River State had been during the era of Governor Donald Duke. When I was in the State Planning Commission, Cross River State became a lead state at that time and was celebrated. There were 3 lead states. We had Kaduna, we had Enugu, and then Cross River State was leading the other states in terms of strategic planning, development, and creative initiatives. Cross River State was leading. And then these governors, from Governor Avery, who kind of carried, this cerebral and one of the most brilliant, governors that this country has produced, to Duke, who was like the star boy amongst the governors, between 1999 to 2007. He was like a star boy. And to Governor Imoke, who is a stickler, for development planning. And to Governor Ayade, who brought, to fore the industrialization, agenda. And don't forget that in celebrating these former governors, the current governor, Apostle Senator Bassey, is also ensuring that their projects and legacies and programs receive continued attention and priority. You are aware that TINAPA has come back. TINAPA has come back. You will ask me, where did it go to? AMCON had taken over, TINAPA. Because at a certain moment, and I wouldn't want to go into all that publicly, but you see, at a certain moment, when certain minds that have not been able to conquer envy take over, like Robert Greene puts it, he says it's a disorder of the soul to which no one confesses. So the worst thing to have as a state is to have a governor who is envious. And that is what we continue to pray against as a state. But you have one governor who is attending to every other project and program that his predecessors had initiated. And so he's calling his 4 predecessors to celebrate them, to celebrate their fine aspects. It is not about saying, everybody, did so, gloriously well. But every governor has his fine aspects. And so, like he tells me, let us focus on the fine aspects. Proceed on the fine aspects. Move on the fine aspects. Celebrate people who have made their contributions. Not that they didn't make mistakes. Of course, no one is you cannot say anybody is infallible. It is only God that, some of my friends will put it in religious terms. Perfection is Godhead. So it's a moment that perseverance, will naturally cherish. And we have to keep praying for Governor Okputu for having a mind to remember, to flash back at the fine aspects of our governance, and to call those who've been responsible for those fine aspects to celebrate them. Getting back to Clement Avery, you must remember, yes, we must remember people like Dr. Clement Isong, who laid, a great foundation, for this state. You must remember, military administrators like Dan Achibo, who was here as a son of the soil and did so much. Dr. Clement Avery came in with a very, he's one of the smartest that we have. He came in with a very quick mind to build on those legacies and brought in very great minds. One fine aspect of Dr. Clement Avery's administration was that he brought very fine minds, to come govern with him. Remember that the former deputy governor, Professor Ivara Isu, was in that administration as Commissioner for Agriculture, and he moved, to a few other strategic areas. Remember also that Governor Clement Avery appointed Mr. Duke, who became a governor, appointed Mr. Duke as his Commissioner for Finance at a very young age. In fact, you could call him tender, at a very young age. And he did so well. The crop of Governor Avery's subordinates and commissioners and aides, did so well. There was Mbang Akpama, who was his chief of staff, who attended to everybody. A great man, he's alive. In fact, he was at the governor's 66th birthday, celebration. Yes, from Yako, Dr. Mbang Akpama, great soul. Yes, the wife is the House of Assembly now. In fact, you can tell, the mind of the governor from his subordinates. I don't know whether you have. Do that assessment. A good governor will have good subordinates. They wouldn't be petty. They wouldn't be, this talk. I don't want to sound pedestrian because I don't, I mean, this, but a governor who, has a sound mind will have sound persons, working. One of the greatest achievements of Governor Avery is that he consolidated on the legacies of the past and brought in very fine minds, very brilliant souls to work with him to advance the crossover state agenda. And his period was brief, very brief. But he remains a shining star today in this country. He's highly respected, in this country today. That brief performance placed him on the pedestal to continue to advance, the destiny of this, the great destiny of this state. And this current governor does not joke with him. He works with Governor Avery closely and listens to him. They are good friends. He's a father. In fact, if you ask Mr. Patrick, he will tell you, Governor Avery is a father. He's a father of, you can call him the father of modern crossover. Because he brought, don't forget that it was Governor Avery that sent Senator Imoke to the Senate at that age. Don't forget. So he's not petty because he's an intellectual. If you want to find out who the true intellectuals are, you can find them in governance when you begin to discover that they are not petty. Anybody who is petty and small and tells you he's an intellectual, forget about it. Intellectualism has to do with a transported soul. You are so, far taken higher than the mundane. The mundane is here. But you are taken to the spiritual. Intellectualism has something to do. That is why, you are told that if you are searching for leaders, search for philosophers. They talk about philosopher kings, comes in here, who is Aristotle and who is, Plato. It's there. So Governor Avery is one intellectual that has remained. You see his humility. One day I met Governor Avery at the airport. I ran to help him carry his suitcase. He told me, Julius, what for? He said, the next time you may not be here, I'll carry it myself. And he does, you know, in the aircraft, you know, there is this, you know, class distinction. When some persons want to, you know, see that, you know, that Honorable stays with the people, stays with anywhere he stays with the people.